Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mythic Gazetteer YouTube page. I'm your host, Eli Kurtz, and I'm here with two players who are familiar to anyone who's watched all of our videos. Let's go ahead and do some quick introductions here. First of all, we have Charlie. Why don't you go ahead and say hi?
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Charlie was one of our playtesters way back when. We ran through an entire session or an entire campaign with him and had a good time. You played Eggle at the time.
Albaz Alfheimer. Yes.
That's right. Yes, indeed. So thanks for playing tonight. And then we also have Derek with us.
Hello.
And Derek, of course, is the second in command of the Mythic Gazetteer, famously having played Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan, son of Jan, etc., in the past.
No mutt this time.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard.
Totally different character, in fact.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard not having an imaginary dog.
That it is.
I'm gonna miss him.
So first of all, we have a special announcement. As of about noon today, the Blackwood Kickstarter is successfully funded. So we are gonna make this book a reality. And I just want to thank everybody who has ever taken interest in the setting. Even if you haven't backed, I appreciate everything that you've told me about the setting and all the support you've given me over time. And I'm just so excited to make this book a real thing in the real world. Speaking of the book, we do have some fun stuff in store tonight. We're going to take a look at the intro section of the book itself, which is a choose-your-own-adventure solo RPG experience where you can get a lead-up into the plot point campaign for the book. We're also going to spend a little time and talk about some Blackwood-specific character options and setting rules and things like that that are available to people who own the book. And then we're going to show off what fancy combat looks like in the Blackwood. So, with no more ado, one more thing. We do have the chat active, and it looks like most of us are in there banging around already. So we are going to go ahead and get started with this thing. Now, guys, to do this section, you will need your bennies, and you will also need some dice in front of you because there isn't a whole lot of rolling, but there is a little bit. So like I said, this is going to be the intro text to the Blackwood Errantry Codex book, and let's go ahead and get started. So, you are on a forest road. You find yourself in the grips of unknown peril. A sunset burns as red as blood at the end of the last day of harvest season. Your caravan is a day's ride into your journey from High Hall. With no delays, you should reach the city of Span in another 3 days, but the Blackwood has fallen silent. No birds sing overhead. The low rustle of creatures in the underbrush has ceased. Not even the wind blows through the branches. The nervous stamping of 2 oxen is stifled by the oppressive silence of the forest. Then, soft at first, but pretty as the tinkling of a unified bell, a song drifts out of the Blackwood. Tra-la-li-lay, not safe today, the Blackwood's all a-flutter. Out of the corner of your eye, a small figure flits between tree trunks. "Ho there, elves among us!" A caravan guard raises the alarm. "Elves, I say! Steady now, errants!" One side of the carts to the other, but grows ever louder, closer. "Not safe today, from elven play, you'll end up in the gutter." You only have a few moments before the elf is upon you. Only a few moments to ready yourself for a battle of wits or weapons, for who can know the twisted intentions of an elf? What do you want to do, Charlie? Do you want to survey your surroundings, prepare for battle, or take cover?
I'm going to survey my surroundings.
And what about you, Derek? What do you want to do?
I am young and brash, and I prepare for battle.
Very nice. Okay, so first of all, we will resolve Charlie's result. Now then. So it is written in the way of the Elder King. The ancients were loath to act without careful consideration. Leaves shudder all up and down the forest road for me with a D8 die and your wild die. And if you succeed, you notice each wagon has a barrel of weapons near the driver's seat, an axe, a bow, and a quiver of arrows in each barrel. One wooden shield hangs near each barrel too. So go ahead and give me your notice check. And you can spend bennies to notice that stuff if you failed.
D8 and wild, right?
Yeah.
7.
A 7, okay. Yeah, that's a success. So you do notice that there are barrels of weapons. There's an axe, a bow, a quiver of arrows, and one wooden shield. Do you want to take any of this stuff?
What's there again?
An axe, a bow, and a quiver of arrows, and then also a wooden shield near each barrel.
What good's the bow without the arrows? I'll take the shield.
Okay, so you'll take the shield, and then would you also want to take the axe too?
If I can take 2 things, then
totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you know what? No,
sounds good.
If I can take 2 things, I want the bow and arrows.
All right, sounds good. That works for me. And then we're back at the beginning for you, so you can either prepare for battle or take cover at this point.
I will. All right. Taking cover can be a form of my preparing for battle.
Totally.
All right, take cover.
All right. Now, Derek. Let's see here. For you, many songs sing of battles with elves, but one piece of wisdom can be found in them all. Be prepared. As you ready your own gear, you bark out orders to organize the caravan guards and protect the drivers. Skip to 23 for further instructions. So we'll go ahead and do this next one for you as well. A small figure steps out of the brush, as if that weren't a strange thing to do at all. The figure is neither mature nor childish, nor man. Tra-la-li-lay, not safe today, the Blackwood's all aflutter. It is dressed in a strange kind of fool's motley, with a hat made of broad leaves and rattling acorns in place of bells. The elves' eyes, green like emeralds, are a little too large as they look up and down the caravan. But come away and play today to win yourself some butter. A few of the caravan guards scream in pain and clutch their ears. Then their faces go still, as you see in horror that a large grub has burrowed into each guard's ear. Make a knowledge elves check with a D4 and your wild die. And then let me know your result.
A 4.
3.
You got a 4?
Yes.
All right, so that'll take you
Was that
to.
just me or was that Charlie too, though?
No, it was just you, Derek.
Okay.
So now, Charlie, you went to take cover. You're not going to be able to help anyone if you're. Sorry, what was that? Okay. Anyway, yeah. So you went to take cover. You're not going to be able to help anyone if you're caught unawares. The barrels and crates in the wagons make for handy cover, so you duck behind them and ready your gear. As long as you remain behind these crates, all enemies suffer a -2 penalty to attacks against you. And then you too are supposed to skip along to section 23. So the same scene played out for you. Tra-la-li-lay, not safe today, the Blackwood's all afloat, but come away and play today to win yourself some butter. You too can make a knowledge elves check with a D4 and a wild die.
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you failed, and you have a different section from Derek. We'll go ahead and do yours first, and then we'll skip ahead to Derek's. So, you know one thing. Any elf is a bad elf, and this one's already attacked many of your companions. Skip to number 4. One of the nearby guards turns to face you. Alas, he's been called by the elf and will serve it until his death. He raises his weapon and attacks you. Roll for him with a D6 in fighting. So go ahead and give me, this one isn't a wild die. It's just the D6, but go ahead and roll it and tell me if you get a 6 or better.
I do not.
Okay. What was your total result?
4.
4? Okay. Yeah, then he does not successfully hit you, and you're at a -2 to be hit anyway because you're behind the cover. So he actually only got a 2. So he comes up and he attacks this box, and you get to make an attack against him with a D8 in shooting. And you're trying to get a 6 or better with this.
Wild as well.
Mm-hmm.
6.
6? Okay, yeah, then he's shaken. And you shoot at him with your bow, and it stops him for a little bit, and then you shoot him once more to take him down once and for all. It says you look up from your slain comrade to find the caravan in chaos. Errants battle called guards near every wagon, and the elf's shrill giggle echoes off the tree trunks in between tunes. So, do you dive for cover, guard the caravan, retaliate against the elf directly, or rush to aid your fellows?
Rush to aid.
Rush to aid? All right, cool. So then you dive off to help your friends, and now we are going to skip to Derek. So Derek, while this was going on, you realize that this kind of elf is known as a caller. These elves tempt humans into the forest with odd tunes that are really mind-controlling grubs in disguise. Next, we go to number 4 for you as well. So, you too notice that one of the nearby guards turns to face you. He's been called, and he will serve it, and he will serve the elf until his death. So, you need to see if he hits you.
A D6.
Yep, a D6.
You got a 5.
A 5, very nice. Okay. So that doesn't hit you either. It had to get a 6 or better. So you managed to dodge out of the way, and you can attack him with a D8 in fighting if you like, or shooting, whichever one you think is more appropriate.
Right. Ooh, my 6 aced.
Okay.
And then a 5. So 11.
11, nice. So you got a success with a raise, which means you kill him outright. And you too look up from your slain comrade to find the caravan in chaos. So do you want to dive for cover, guard the caravan, retaliate against the elf, or rush to aid your fellows?
I think I'm going to retaliate against the elf.
Nice. 17 is the one. Okay, so back to... actually, let's do your next step. So, while other errants who resisted the elf's song take care of the less fortunate guards, you turn to attack the elf at the road's edge. Do you attack immediately? Or do you know about... you know about the elf from another entry. So, you remember one more thing about callers. It's hard to outmaneuver them, but they can be outwitted. So you need to make a smarts trick against the elf with a D8 die and your wild die.
My 6 aced again, and another 5, so 11.
11, nice. So that's the success with a raise too, which means that the elf will suffer a -2 penalty to its parry, and it's also shaken. So you need to make an attack against it now, against a parry of 4. And it's the same D8 fighting die you used earlier.
You said I needed a 4?
Mm-hmm. Well, you need to beat a 4.
I got a 4.
Okay, yeah, then you would hit. So go ahead and make an attack with 2d6 damage against this caller elf. And the toughness to beat is 6.
One of my dies aced, and 2 on the other, so I'm at 8 right now.
Nice.
Plus 5, so 13.
13. Okay, so the elf gains 1 wound, and it disappears in a swirl of leaves. So we are going to jump back to Charlie at this point. So Charlie, while Derek was off fighting the elf directly, you rushed to aid your fellows. It's a grisly thing to kill the men and women you considered allies just moments before, but such is the monstrosity of the elves. You make quick work of it, along with the help of other errants who resisted the elf's song. And then once the called guards are all dead, you turn to find the elf has disappeared. So, next for you, Occupied with your own tasks, it takes a moment too long to notice when the elf alights on your shoulder. It hisses a quiet giggle in your ear. And then it leaps up again with staggering force. Make an agility check with a d6 plus your wild die. If you fail, you take 1 level of fatigue damage as you're shoved rudely to the floor. I think you're muted. Oh, it actually doesn't look like you're muted. But you are quiet. Yeah, I can't hear you, man. You might have to drop out and come back in. In the meantime, though, we'll switch over to Derek again. So, Derek, you are... Okay, so just as the called guards are finally put out of their misery, a chorus of howls echoes up and down the road. The branches overhead part to reveal the snarling faces of a pack of howlers. These cruel hunters are caught midway between wolf and ape. As if things couldn't go worse, the lead caravan driver shouts, "Fly, fly!" as he and the other drivers snap their reins. Make an agility check to leap into the nearest wagon as the howlers overhead give chase. So that's a d6 plus your wild die.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I got a 4.
A 4. All right. So that was a success. So you do manage to get into the wagon as it lurches off down the road. And you have a choice to make. Do you protect the drivers? Do you attack the howlers? Or do you take the reins yourself?
I'll protect the drivers.
Okay. So that's going to be option 15. And now, Charlie.
Yeah. I got a 5.
So you got a 5 on your check? Okay.
Yeah.
So you avoid the fatigue damage. You manage to roll out of the elf whenever it shoves you to the ground. And the elf lands on a nearby wagon and locks eyes with you. It smiles, and something about the way it cocks its head jars you almost out of yourself. Make a smarts check with the d6 in your wild die, but make it at a -2 penalty.
1.
A 1? Whew, you might want to spend a Benny on that.
Yeah, I'll Benny that. 1 more Benny.
Okay.
Okay. 5.
So at least you succeeded.
After the penalty, yeah.
After the penalty. Gotcha. So you avoid being shaken. Otherwise, your wits would have gone totally blank. And either way, the elf disappears in another swirl of leaves. And just as the called guards are finally put out of their misery, you too hear the chorus of howls echo up and down the road. The branches overhead part to reveal the snarling faces of a pack of howlers, just like Derek saw. They're caught between wolf and ape. The caravan driver shouts, "Fly, fly!" as he and the other drivers snap their reins. So you too need to make an agility check with a d6 and a wild die to try and leap into the wagon as it lurches off.
5.
5. Okay, yeah, you succeeded. So you managed to crawl into a wagon just as it starts to lurch off down the road. And you have a choice. Do you protect the drivers, attack the howlers, or take the reins yourself?
Attack the howlers.
Cool. All right. So, Derek, you're next. You decided to protect the drivers. Why do you get the feeling these wagons would be lost without you? The drivers train their eyes on the road ahead, but you know the howlers will be leaping down upon them soon. What's worse, the elf could return at any moment. You take up a position near one of the wagon drivers, ready and waiting for any howlers to get too close. And your next section is the end, so we're going to skip over to Charlie really quick. Charlie, you decided to attack the howlers. It won't be long before the howlers begin leaping down from the trees. Best to take out as many as you can before then. If you have a ranged weapon, make a shooting check to shoot into the trees. So that's the D8 that we rolled earlier.
7.
7. All right, yeah. So one of the howlers cries out and falls to the ground dead from your arrow. And you too skip ahead to the end at this point. So, the Blackwood begins to twist and bend around you. Elves are never far from the elven wilds, so the forest around them can shift in ways that it shouldn't. Not even the road ahead can withstand the elf's magic, as it lurches left and right over constantly changing terrain. The howlers bay in the trees above as the sun sinks closer to the horizon. This marks the beginning of the Blackwood plot point campaign, The Way of the Elder King. If you play through the campaign with the rest of your group, keep these final conditions in mind at the start of the first session. So, you two had characters that you were imagining while you were taking these actions. And these characters found themselves in the same caravan together, heading to the city of Span from the city of High Hall. The truth is, the two of you met just 2 days previously in the city of High Hall. And we are now going to introduce the characters to each other, describe them, not just what they look like and how they behave, but also what their mechanics are like. And then we're going to jump into the scene where the two of you first met each other. Now, what we need in the chat, while we are introducing these characters, they are going to meet in a tavern of some kind. But I want to know the details of this tavern. Is it inside the city gates? Is it out in the forest? Is it an open air place? Is it indoors? Is it multiple stories? I want you guys to throw out some description tags for this place, and they will inform the terrain for the coming scene. So let's start with you, Derek. Your character is... tell me what she looks like, first of all, or he or she.
I haven't decided that yet. I was actually going to roll a die and see if I'm male or female.
Very nice. So it's a D4?
Yes.
And what's the what are we deciding?
1 or 2, I'll be male. 3 or 4, I'll be female.
Sounds great.
I got a 4. So my character is a female.
A young girl.
I am young.
What's she look like and what's she do, huh?
Well, my character's name is Pheasant's Quill. And she's young. She's probably only 13 or 14. She was orphaned as a child and was taken in by a kindly master of the Red Bear Fighting School. And I have grown up under his tutelage.
Very nice.
And I am now an aspiring student of the Red Bear School.
Okay, so that's all about agility and stuff. Let's talk about, so you're a novice character, so you can only have unlocked the base ability for that fighting school, but why don't you tell us about what it does for you?
Okay, so the aspiring students of the Red Bear School unlock the Way of the Twisted Branch, which allows a +1 bonus when I'm doing an agility trick. And they're also about moving fast. So I get a +1 to my pace and a +1 running die.
Very nice. Okay, so that sounds great. And now, Charlie, what is your character all about? What does he look like?
He is in his 30s, around there. Sort of a little gruff, a little windswept. He has, I imagine he's kind of grown up in mountains, so he's a little bulkier. He, hold on one sec. Yeah, it's sort of like a Viking, but with more of a wood folk type dress, leather, a lot of leather with accents of fur, and adorned with stone pendants, lots of stone. He's got a book made of stone, like a tome, like with pages and everything, but it's completely made of stone, hanging by a chain at his side.
Nice. Okay, and he's a classicist, yeah.
Yes, he's an elder folk,
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
and they live in the mountain valleys, and they are what are they? They're studious and they're sure-footed.
yes, and instead of a sword or anything in sheath at his side, he has a quill that is sheathed in a water well, like an inkwell, just filled with water.
Very nice. Yeah, because classicists, they illuminate text, so they need a quill to be able to draw these beautiful things. But you have a stone book, so what's the story with that?
So, um, his name is Tocklin Quillfeather. So we've got a lot of quills
Hmm.
going on here. He, in his years, sort of being raised as a servant, not a servant, the servant of the Elder King by his parents in the mountains, um, developed an ability to create physical objects out of stone using just the quill and water,
Nice.
which is one of the reasons the book is with him all the time. He can easily draw a dagger into the stone with water and then take it right out, and then be able to take it out and use it. So he's kind of got and he has been trained by his father, as a lot of elder folk have, in the techniques of clockwork.
Very
So
nice.
rather than applying that to clockwork, he actually applies it to stonework. So he can create with the stones. With the stone is almost limitless.
I like it. And so, Pheasant's Quill, you are a woodkin in contrast to Tocklin's elder folks. So, tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a woodkin.
Well, as a woodkin, I guess I'll just kind of talk about the mechanics of it. I get a +2 hearing notice bonus.
Okay. Yeah, because
I
they're
have
keen-eared.
keen-eared. And woodkin are also mechanically lucky, so they get an extra Benny per session. They're superstitious, and so they think about different things that could happen, and so they're extra cautious.
Nice. And I know, like, superstition, that can be, throwing salt over your shoulder. It can be always making sure you thank the ancestors for something. How does Pheasant's Quill's superstition manifest?
Um, hmm. You can never back into a building. You've always got to face forward. That's what she does.
All right, sounds good. That'll be something we can maybe test, because another one of your character features is that you are a student of the Red Bear School, and one of your hindrances I see is that you have an enemy in a rival school.
So I guess I'll talk a little bit about my hindrances. As I said, I was
Sure.
young, so I took the young major hindrance, which means I started out with less ability or attribute points and less skill points to distribute. And then as minor hindrances, I took a vow related to the Red Bear School that I always uphold the ideals of my school. And I took the enemy minor hindrance that I have a rival in a rival martial arts school.
Nice. Excellent. So maybe that'll come into play in this scene. So like I said, you both find yourselves in the city of High Hall, and you're both looking for work. You've decided that you're going to go out and walk the way's margin and become errants and try to make a living that way. And in order to do that, you've got to prove yourself. And the way you prove yourself is, well, there are two ways. You can get a job, or you can pick a fight. And you've decided that you're going to see which one happens first. The best place to do both of those things is, of course, in a tea house or a tavern. So you head over to that place. Oh, wait, I see here in the chat. Yeah, I guess, Charlie, we didn't really go over Tocklin's edges and hindrances. The one I'm most curious about is this one distracting technique that you've taken, because that's a Blackwood-specific edge. So what can you tell us about that?
Basically, Tocklin he has He has this ability to create things out of the stone with water, and he has a stone dagger he keeps with him on all times, and he can modify it, and he knows how to use the dagger, but one of his main skills is throwing. And the distracting technique is pretty much his main sort of strategy in battle, because he can create objects very quickly out of the book and use them as a distraction to basically take advantage of a situation and maybe either get closer in for a melee attack, or the ability to throw, like the ability to throw an object without the enemy noticing. He plays with a lot of I guess it's not really sleight of hand, but he a lot of his strategy comes with making the enemy look one way while he attacks from the other, because he's not the most agile person. He's not the most agile fighter, and he's big and sort of lumbering, so he needs an advantage elsewhere.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, and then mechanically what that means, the distracting technique edge, is that the character receives a +2 bonus to smarts tricks. So it's similar to the acrobat edge in that way, that you get a bonus to agility tricks, but this one is specifically for smarts. And if you're successful, then your opponent suffers -3 to parry instead of the normal -2. So it makes you a little better at clever jabs and tactical things like that.
And then the only other thing I'd say is his major hindrance is he's a zealot for the Elder King.
That's right. Yeah. And that's another Blackwood-specific hindrance. This one is, it represents fanatical devotion to any cause, but that's something that the player has to define for their own character. It's not like there's a menu of suggestions, but you basically get to create your own special version of zealotry for your character. And you've chosen the Elder King.
Yes.
Excellent. Well,
on the Elder King.
So looking at the chat, there are some great ideas in here. We're going to combine both of them for this. So first of all, I too love Hello from the Magic Tavern, and everybody should go watch it if you haven't. Listen to it. It's a podcast, I guess. You don't watch it, but you get the idea. Anyway, so thanks for that, Carlin. These suggestions come from Carlin Kendrick and Matt Stark, by the way. Thanks for joining the chat, guys. And let's smash them up. So there's this tavern, and it's called the Vermilion Minotaur. And it stands at the edge of the city of High Hall in an open courtyard surrounded by this C-shaped apartment complex that's about 4 stories tall. And the tavern is in the back portion of this apartment complex on the ground floor, but most of the seating area is outside. And so overhead, you've got all these clotheslines going across, strung with clothing and that sort of thing. There are a lot of tenants eavesdropping from the front stoop of their apartments, wherever they happen to be in the building. The tables downstairs are old, mead-stained. They're made out of wood. There's a long bearded figure, probably a classicist, who is speaking rather loud over in the corner. And next to him, there's a portly fellow who speaks into a rock for some reason. It's very strange. And there's this badger that's kind of scurrying back and forth from that table out into the forest and then back.
I'm throwing breadcrumbs down on the ground for the badger.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And what about you, Tocklin? What's up with you?
Well, I'm sorry. Where are we in the tavern right now?
You are in the, I guess it would be the seating area. You're in this courtyard. You're surrounded on 3 sides by these 4-story buildings where there are people talking and chatting and that sort of thing. And let's say there are around 10 tables in there. And most of them are full.
Is there a bar?
There sure is.
Then I'll sit at the bar.
Very nice. Okay. You notice that there's a young girl who is over in the corner feeding breadcrumbs to a bear, or not a bear, a little badger that keeps scurrying to and fro. And then the bartender gives you a drink, and we're good to go. For you, Pheasant's Quill, as you're feeding this badger, you find that you are rudely shoved from behind, and you fall down onto your hands and knees. You look up, and there's this haughty-looking errant man who is striding into the tavern, and he casts a look back at you as if to say, "Get out of my way, you little cretin."
I'll turn around and say, "Hey, mister, apologize."
Apologize. Okay. So Tocklin, you can see this scene going on. This little girl was shoved over by this big errant guy. And this errant guy has a retinue of errants that are traveling with him. And he turns to her and he says, "And who are you to address me such?"
I stand tall, all probably 5 foot, if that. No, probably, I don't know. I don't know how old or how tall a 13-year-old would be, but I'm not tall.
5 foot sounds reasonable.
I'm wearing quilted silk that's red and white, patterned kind of stripes. I look sort of like a red bear.
Whoa.
And so I kind of stand there, and I have a spear, and I plant that spear, and I push my shoulders back, and I said, "I am Pheasant's Quill, acolyte of the Red Bear School, and I am on my journey to be an errant."
Oh, are you, little girl? How funny. So if anybody's in the chat, we need a name for this guy. And this guy, like I said, he's haughty. He's wearing these, they're not really shabby, but they're definitely not noble's robes either, but they're blue, and they're embroidered all up and down with what look like, they could be lightning bolts, or they could be like antlers or something, right? But he looks down and he says, "Huh, you say your name is Pheasant's Quill?"
I didn't stutter.
He really laughs and he says, "Oh, child, better to go play your game somewhere else. Dripfang Grimhoof does not idly stand the threats of even the lowest creatures." And he turns to walk away from you.
Who you calling low? What was your name?
My name is Grimhoof.
Rotten Hoof?
Did he start, like, he quiets the entire tavern, and even the people up in the apartment complex are starting to look down and see what's up. And he says, "This whelp seems to be in need of a lesson. Does anyone want to teach this whelp a lesson?" He looks back at the bar and he points right at Tocklin and he says, "You, what about you? Perhaps you could teach this child a thing or two."
I see one whelp that needs to be taught a lesson.
Yes, indeed. She thinks she's an errant. How foolish of her. And what is your name, sir?
Tocklin Quillfeather.
Quill, you say? Oh, perhaps you are her uncle then. What say you, little girl?
My uncle's dead.
Oh, the crowd kind of, aww. And Grimhoof, he looks at you, and then he looks back at the man at the bar, and he says, "I see what it is now. This is a conspiracy. Well, you both walk the ways margin. Let's see if you can withstand the Stag's Crown treaties." And he squares off, and he says, "Dripfang Grimhoof will shirk from no challenge. I am famous in the tavern of the Grandeur Glaze in Farwater Beach. For a mighty duel fought there just 6 months ago, and I challenge you, both of you, to face me and my band of errants here in combat."
Can I shut him up?
Why don't you do a test of wills? So this is going to be you doing either intimidate or taunt against his smarts or spirits, depending.
I don't think I put either of those on here.
Then it would be a d4 minus 2. But if you do something like if you describe it really well, I'll give you a +2 bonus.
Okay, so do I have to Do I have to describe it before I describe it before I roll it?
Yeah, and let me know if you're doing an intimidation or a taunt.
I'm gonna intimidate after he
What if
goes.
what if it's more of like a blunt attack, or like I don't know. It's less of an intimidation and a taunt, and more like a glove to the face.
Okay, so you're just going to walk up to him and slap him with a glove then?
Oh no, I'm not going to move anywhere.
Ah, okay. Well, I think that would still be intimidation.
The entire time that this whelp that I mentioned earlier has been standing there, touting himself in his haughty manner, Tocklin has been just, nonchalantly drawing circles in his stone book, collecting little balls, little pellets in his hand. And, he might just feel like flicking one of these heavy stone pellets, as he has been trained to do, lightly, right towards the middle of Grit Fang's head, or whatever his name is.
Very nice. Okay, yeah. So go ahead and give me an intimidation check, and I will give you a +2 bonus because it's a cool action. And so it's going to be your D4 opposed to my D6, but he's not a wild card, so he just gets the 1d6.
Do I get am I rolling a wild too?
You are, and I got a 1. So you don't have to roll very high.
I got a 4.
A 4, yeah. Then you definitely succeeded. Not quite with a raise, but almost. And yeah, what that means is that he is going to be, I think, at a -2, or you have a +2 to your next action against him. Yeah.
I mean, and this
So
is
that
all
happened.
happening. This is all happening while he's standing there going, "I am this," and doing all of this, and I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
I have this little tiny pellet in my hand that I drew right out of my book. I even maybe put a little frowny face on it, just sort of tossing it up, and then I get done here and listening to him. So
Very nice. Okay.
I'm still just standing there drinking my beer.
So when it hits him, I assume he like sputters some, and
Oh yeah.
behind him he just hears a giggle.
Immediately, all of his errant brothers, they turn around and they face you, and they have their hands ready to go in the stag's crown position.
Before they turn back to me, can I do an intimidation as well?
Yeah.
I'm
Did
going
they turn to him or me? Sorry, just curious about the positioning here.
I assume
They're turning. The errants are turning to Pheasant's Quill. They're turning away from you.
So I guess as they turn towards me, I'm going to do a backflip up into. Yeah, there's a. I don't know if you'll let me do this, but if I can land on a clothesline.
Absolutely. Why not? Actually, no, you don't have leaf step, so you can't do that. But you could do something really cool by like landing on a table.
Okay, I'll backflip up onto a table. I'm
Cool.
still really agile.
Right. And I got a 6, so I got an 11 total.
Actually, I guess can I do it? I guess this would be a trick more than intimidate.
Yeah, if you're going to do an agility trick, though, it's going to have to be in melee range with him.
Okay. Well, I'll wait then. I'll just sit there.
Okay. You could do an agility trick against like one of the other errants.
Yeah, that's who I was doing it to.
Oh, I thought you were doing it to Grimhoof.
No, just whoever's close to me.
Okay, yeah, then you can do it to one of the other errants, and that's just a check. You don't have to. It's not opposed to anything.
Okay. To just agility or.
Yeah, it's oh wait, I'm sorry. It is an opposed roll, but they have a D8 and they are not wild cards. So let's see here. Well, that aced. That aced. So I got a 20 altogether.
Seriously?
Sorry, man.
Well, I got a 7, which isn't bad, but not a 20.
That is not bad. But it turns out diving into a crowd of errants just wasn't as effective of a trick as you had hoped it would be. So, so here we go. We are going to do initiative at this point. And let's see. Tocklin, you have a king. Pheasant's Quill, you have an 8. And I have an ace. Ooh, so I go first. All right. Now, like I said, there are 6 dudes, right? And what I would like from the chat, throw out obstacles that they might be able to rebound off of, throw out like bystanders who are struggling to get out of the way. All the set dressing you can think of. I wanna see it, and I'll incorporate it into the fight. But first, if he gets down into a fighting stance and his hands are open because he uses the Stag's Crown Treatise, and the Stag's Crown Treatise is all about finding the pressure points on the body to nerve block people. And he is going to ignore this tiny little girl who's just stumbled into the middle of his band of errants, and he's going to charge at Toclin. And so Toclin, you are going to be making a check here very soon. But first, I need to know your parry score.
Parry score. My parry is 8.
8. Okay, so let's see.
Oh wait, no. If it is it 9? I have 8, and then I have a parentheses and a 1, and I don't know why I put that.
Oh yeah, then it's just 8 for you.
Okay.
1 would be like if you drop your weapon or something like that, I think. Depends on, or maybe your armor. Anyway. Okay, so I got a 7, and so I did not successfully manage to hit you. So I come up and I strike, but you managed to like parry it out of the way. And then the errants are all going to attack our dear friend Pheasant's Quill. And I'll just roll, let's say that there are 3 that are within striking distance. So they're going to attack you, but they're going to get a +2 bonus each because of their gang up. So what is your parry? Pheasant's Quill, what's your parry?
9.
9, okay, cool. So good luck hitting you, I guess. Here's the first attack. That's a 6, 7, 8, so I did not hit you with that one. Second one is a 5, didn't hit you with that one either. And the third one, aced. And so that's a 15, 16, 17. So it is a hit with a raise, which means they're going to deal some damage. But they are unarmed, so it's just going to be strength plus D4, which is a D6 and a D4. Now, what is your toughness?
Not as good. A 5.
A 5, okay. Yeah, so not ideal, but let's see how this turns out. I got, oh God, both of them aced. So that was 7, and then 10, and then 13 total. So that's a hit with 2 wounds. Do you want to try and soak that?
I'm going to soak that. Unfortunately, my vigor is only a 4. I'm going to use another Benny.
Okay.
And another Benny.
Okay, so this is 3 so far.
And a 4, hold on. 7.
7, okay, so that's a success, but not with a raise. So you managed to clear, wait a second, your toughness was 5, right? And
yes.
I got a 13, so that's a success with just the 1 raise. Yeah, so you actually did clear all the wounds, and you're not shaken or anything. So yeah, this guy comes after you, and they're all trying to do their finger strikes at your vital nerve points, but they kind of trip over each other. And there's actually this server who's been bustling through the tavern, been working so hard today already. She's just got this massive plate full of cups and like dumplings, and for some reason the badger that was there earlier is on this plate, and she turns around right into the middle of this thing. The plate goes flying up into the air. Everything gets scattered. It's all in the air. So, how are you responding to all this?
I grab a piece of food. And
very nice. I was talking to Toclin though.
Oh, okay.
Toclin, are you still there? It looks like you're maybe locked up.
Hey, yeah, it wasn't letting me unmute.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so the other knights are just like, is the chaos coming from all this food and shit that's in the air right now?
Yeah, that's probably happening about 20 feet distant from you. The more immediate presence for you is Mr. Grimhoof, who is right in front of you, and he's just struck, and you've parried the blow away.
Okay. What I would like to do, I parried the blow away, and in which direction? Did he come at me front and then I
Whichever you want.
Okay, what I would like to do is, do I have the ability to describe how the parry went down a little bit?
Totally, yeah. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I imagine that he's attacking me barehanded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how many guys are behind him?
Sorry, you cut out there. What was that?
Are any of his guys directly behind him?
Let's say that, yeah, there was one or two that broke off with him and went over to face you.
Okay. What I would like to do, assuming that the positioning works out for this, is I see his parry, his attack coming in straight on me, and I see him coming in to attack me. And what I do is I raise up my book, my classics book of stone, with my quill also in my hand. I use the book as a shield and sort of graze his hand off of the book. And while I'm doing that, I also use the quill to start drawing and pulling a stone rope out of the back of the book. Nice. And using his momentum, so I don't even need that much strength, but his momentum, I twirl around him, wrapping the stone rope around the arm that grazed off my book, and then sort of spin him around and throw him right back in the direction he came, towards whatever guys of his that are right behind him.
That's awesome. So I love it, first of all. Second of all, the best way to represent it is with a push check. So this is going to be an opposed strength check from both of you. And I just have a D6 for my strength. I don't know about you.
D6.
Okay, but you also get your wild die, which is nice.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and make these checks here. I got a 5. A +1 bonus to it because of the cool description.
Cool. I got an 8 with all of that put together. I exploded
an 8
the second time. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so it's not enough to get a raise, but you did. So you are going to push him back 6 feet backward, right? Like you grab the rope and you launch him back, and he falls back into his 2 compatriots, and they're pissed. They're real pissed. And that was great. So we've got that out of the way, and now it is time for the glorious return of Pheasant's Quill. Get after him, gal.
So I quickly grab a piece of food, stuff it in my mouth,
Nice.
wink at the badger, and with my spear, I'll lunge towards one of these guys. I'm going to do 2 actions. So you know, in Kung Fu movies, you have the spear and you kind of wobble it so the head kind of goes in a circular motion. So I'm going to go that way at one of the people to scare them as an agility trick.
Nice.
And when he starts to back up, I'm going to confuse them and attack the person next to him. And just, so it's like trying to get you, and then just jam the spear at the other guy.
Nice. Kind of a surprise attack. I like it.
Yeah.
So it's a multi-action penalty, but I believe your Red Bear School gives you a bonus to agility tricks, right?
It does. And I get a +1 versus Celestial Schools.
Ah, that's right, because you are a river school. Red Bear School is a river style, and Stag's Crown is a celestial style. And according to the kind of rock, paper, scissors arrangement of the 3 schools of schools, you get a +1 bonus against them.
Yes. So my agility trick will be no bonus to it, and my 6 ace and the 5, so 11
total. 11, nice. So that's a success with a raise. So not only is he at -2 parry, but he's also shaken.
Okay, and then my attack against his neighbor is my fighting is a D10. This will be
and you're trying to beat a parry of 6.
It'll be at -1 for my multi-action plus. It'll be -2 for multi-action +1 for against a celestial school.
That's right.
My 6 aced again. I'm liking this one, and a 3.
Nice.
So it's only an 8.
An 8 that does hit, but not with a raise. So you can go ahead and deal damage. And the toughness you're trying to beat is 6 as well.
My strength is a d6, and my spear does a d6. Oh, I got a 5.
A 5, not quite. So yeah, you managed to jab this spear off in this other dude's direction, but he's already ready for it. He knocks it up into the sky, or the point of it anyway. So that happened, and we find ourselves at the end of the round. Next round, we have Tocklin with a 3, not so great. We have our hey, Pheasant's Quill got a joker. All right. And then the bad guy's got a queen. So, Pheasant's Quill, you can choose to go whenever you want. And I will say that the enemy that you did the trick on earlier is still at -2 parry and is still shaken.
Yeah, I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to yell out, "There's no way a celestial school could beat the Red Bears." Upholding my vow to the Red Bears. And I'm going to do 2 actions again.
Okay. Yeah, you've got the bonuses for it.
All right. So this third guy that's over here, I'm going to whip my spear around in a low arc as if I'm going to trip him.
Okay. And do you want to do that as a push check to knock him prone?
No, just as a trick.
Okay, sounds good. So this is another agility trick then.
Right.
All right.
And
yeah,
then,
these Red Bears.
Yeah. So I'll do that and then my other action. Hold on, I dropped a dice.
By the way, in the chat, Matt Stark pointed out that we didn't grant Tocklin his +2 bonus for the trick. And so I think what that means is that you actually did succeed with a raise. So instead of pushing the guy back 6 feet, you pushed him back 12 feet. And he just like flew through the air and landed on a table, and like the table broke underneath him. He's not out of the running, but he's definitely.
Was that not Drip Fang? Was Drip Fang not the one that attacked me?
Drip Fang was the one who attacked you, yeah.
Or he's the one I sent spiraling back.
That's right.
Did he hit any of the other guys when I did that?
He did, but not enough to actually like hurt them. It was basically enough to just like block them up for a little while.
Okay.
But anyway, so Pheasant's Quill, what's up?
I got a 7 on that agility trick.
7. All right. Yeah. So I need to make an agility roll as well. That was a leaner. I got a 2. So you succeed with a raise, which means that is this the third target that you're striking right now? Okay. So he also is at -2 parry and shaken until his next action.
And so turning back to the original guy that I had tricked, I will leap at him and like just full body leap, like straight as the spear at him.
Nice. Wily arrow style. Wow. So go ahead and give me a fighting check then. And this guy, you only have to get a 4 to be able to hit him.
And I got a 4, so that works.
Nice. Okay, so you do hit. Go ahead and give me some damage. And this again, the toughness is 6.
And do I add +2 to this for my Joker?
You do. You actually should have added it to the previous roll too if you didn't.
I've been adding it. So I got a 4. Ooh, my 6 ace and a 3. 9 +1, 10 +2, 12.
12. Okay, yeah. So that definitely hits with a raise. So you take this guy out. Now, this is a civilized errant's duel, so murder is not the assumption, but you can take him out however you want.
I will take him out. My spear scores a line along his cheek, and a tiny drop of blood drips down, and he just stares at me.
And it turns out he's an especially vain man, and he says, I yield, and he backs away. He's also clutching his cheek. Oh, I'll never be the same. Oh. Turns out maybe the life of errantry is not the life for him. But that happens, and those are both of your actions that we've been through at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then there are just the two combatants in front of you. And Tocklin, there are two errants that are in front of you, but then there's the one that you threw backward as well. So it's the bad guy's turn. And they all immediately try to regroup. And Pheasant's Quill, they're going to retaliate against you first. They're both going to, and they're going to fly at you. One of them is going to do a front flip over you and then try and grab you around the arms in a kind of agility trick. So this will be opposed agility for it to be successful. And I got a 4. Actually, I'm going to spend a Benny and see if I can get anything higher than that. And let me know what your agility is. Nah, best I can get is a 4.
I don't think he was at the table.
No, this is you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was not paying attention then.
Yeah, no worries.
What was I supposed to do?
Make an agility check.
Okay. Seriously, I was reading a book. I was reading the rules, actually. So,
well, good for you.
My 6 ace and a 1. So I got a 7. Do I still get my +2? It's still this round.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's how that works.
Then a 9.
Okay, so a 9. Yeah, you definitely did not beat my roll, or you did beat my roll. I failed miserably. So he does a flip over your head, and it's kind of impressive, but you've seen flips before. This isn't that cool. And you can tell that's what he's going to do. And so he actually reaches to grab you, but he's used to fighting adults, so he actually goes like right over your head. But then the other one...
I look back up, and I'm like, hello.
But then the other one comes right after you, and he gets a gang up bonus to his attack. So let's see if he can hit. Your parry is still 9, right?
Yes.
Jeez. Yeah, that's why I need to get one of these agility tricks off on you, or smarts or something. Jeez. Okay, so let's see here. I got a 2. I did not succeed in my attack. 3 was the gang up bonus that I got.
I assume this guy went low, and I jumped over it.
Yeah, presumably. It's the old over-under. So the other 3 errants who are engaged with Tocklin, first of all, the Grimhoof, he lands on the table and it crashes into the ground. And then he gets up and he's got a look of rage in his eyes. And he says, "After them! We 6 tigers will not, or 6 fire cats will not stand idly by while you besmirch our honor." And so these other 2, they run after you, right? And one of them is going to attempt to do a smarts trick as he goes. He's going to say, "Hey, that book looks a little heavy in your arms. Maybe you should just put it down." He's never insulted anybody in his life. Poor guy. But it's a smarts test for him, and you need to make a 6. Yeah, that's what he says. Let's retcon that. According to Carlin Kendrick, instead, he says, 6 fire cats with top hats, attack!
Welcome.
Derek makes a good point. One of the guys who attacked him should have been shaken. So let's just see if he can recover from shaken. And he could not. So the attack never happened in the first place. They're a kind of pathetic group of warriors, as you can tell. But yeah, then the 2 guys charge Tocklin. And in the background, Mr. Grimhoof, he produces 2 darts from his sleeves. And he readies to throw them. So I'm going to need you, Tocklin. I got a 5, so that hits. And then darts are only strength plus D4. I think they're -2. Let me just double check that really quick. This is a new weapon that we've included in the Blackwood. The idea is that medieval settings don't have any ranged weapons with a rate of fire higher than 1. I thought that was silly. So the dart is a piercing weapon that you can throw a short distance. It deals strength plus D4 damage, and it has a rate of fire of 3. So I will be making 2 attacks against you. The first one was a 4, so that does hit. The second one, ooh, that aced. So that's an 11, 9, a success with a raise. All right. Here's the first attack. It does hit you. And what is your toughness, Toclin?
5.
A 5, okay. So first attack is going to be 6 damage. So that does hit you and it shakes you. And then I wouldn't soak it yet. The second one is going to deal a total of 6 damage as well. And actually, no, I'm sorry. That's with an additional d6. So it's 11 damage. So that would be shaken plus 2 wounds. Do you want to soak that?
What would that do again?
If you soak it, then you spend a Benny and you make a vigor check and you try to get rid of the wounds. Otherwise, you'll suffer a penalty to all of your actions in the future.
Oh, yeah, soak that.
Cool. All right, so spend that Benny and then give me a vigor roll. And for every success and raise, you will clear 1 of those wounds.
11.
11. That's a success with a raise. So you managed to clear the 2 wounds. The shaken was cleared as well because you cleared both of the wounds. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. That's how we're going to rule it now because that's the more wuxia way to rule it. So yeah, you managed to dodge these 2 daggers, but only just as the 2 guys are coming up to attack you as well. They have D6 in fighting. I'm sorry, they have D8 in fighting. And they're trying to beat a parry of 8, I think. Yeah. So, and they get +1 bonuses for gang up. So let's try this out. One of them got a 5. Not good enough. Ooh, aced. So this one got a 15, 16 total, which is a success with a raise over you. So now we're going to do some damage with an additional d6. And your toughness, I think, is only 5, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's see. That aced. So that's 10, 12, 16 total. You're probably going to want to soak that one too.
I'm out of bennies.
Oh, you're out of bennies? I thought you had...
Yeah, Charlie, don't use the ones you used in the opening setting thing.
Yeah, they reset.
Yeah,
the opening.
And soak that shit.
Okay.
So I've got 1 Benny left after this.
That's right.
Okay. So am I rolling vigor again?
You are, yeah.
Okay.
I still have
Explode.
2 minis.
And
Explode.
Jeez.
13.
13? Wow, yeah. So you managed to clear both the wounds again. These 2 guys come in at you, right?
God.
Yeah, and they're like striking left and right. They're a flurry of blows, both of them, but they just can't manage to hit your nerve spots. Correct. So now it is Toclin's turn. You have these 2 guys. One you daggers your way.
Wait, you just broke out.
You have some an angry errant who's just thrown some daggers your way.
Okay. Can I, and the errant, that's Drip Fang, he's farther away, right?
Right.
And then these 2 guys are right next to me.
Yeah. For anybody who's in the chat, by the way, I would love for you guys to let us know what kind of tactics the enemies should use against our heroes next.
Okay. I have something I want to do. I don't know if I can do it, though.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is... They're really close to me, aren't they? Are they both right in front of me?
They are. Yeah, both of them.
Okay. But they're in front of me.
They are, yeah. They're like
Okay.
on either side of you, and they're both throwing blows your way.
Okay. And what I want to do is shit. If there weren't 2 in front of me, this would be easier. So I have this rope left over from my attack on Drip Fang. I believe the rope is still. I didn't get rid of it yet. It's still attached around my arm.
Totally.
And then these blows that they were dealing me, was I blocking them, or were they missing, or are they just not really affecting me very much?
I imagine it was a little of both.
Okay. So what I want to do is, as I'm dodging these blows or in between everything,
Yeah.
I am drawing a sort of like a heavy ball bearing, almost like a shot put, but maybe a little bit smaller. And
Sure.
I've linked the end of it to the rope.
Oh.
And what I want to do, hold on, give me one sec. I have to think this through because I know what I want to do. It's just a matter of executing it.
While you're thinking about this, I'll explain. So you're not really using traditional weapons right now, but there is a Blackwood setting rule called in the right hands. And basically what it says is that if you're using an object that's related to your profession somehow, then you don't suffer the penalties for using improvised weapons, right? And so what I imagine is that because you're a classicist, you are familiar with this stone tome of yours, and the stome, if you will. And oh, makes me think of stoma. Anyway,
Yeah,
maybe not the best association. Anyway, welcome to the Blackwood, folks. But yeah, I imagine like because you're so familiar with this book, you can make pretty much whatever weapon you want, and you're not gonna suffer the improvised weapon penalties because of it.
No, this book is like, I mean, this book never leaves his side. He's had this book at his side since he was like 10 years old. I mean, the weight is like nothing to him. He's so familiar with the weight and the depth and the width and the outlines of the book, because when he's done using one of the objects that he's created, if he can retrieve it, he will melt it, like he will merge it back into the book. And if he can't, then he'll, at some point when he finds stone, he will rebuild the book.
I like it.
So what I want to do is I have this heavy ball bearing attached to this rope now. These two guys are in front of me, and what I want to do is there space between them? Like one's here, and then Drip Fang might be like back here?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do is sort of fake them out. I imagine this is sort of a distraction technique where I go to like do a motion as if I'm going to throw something at them, like two things at them, but it's actually just one ball that I'm throwing straight ahead with the rope still attached by my hand here.
Nice.
And so sort of fake them out, but the whole idea of is that it hits Drip Fang, and then right as it hits him, right before it loses its momentum, like it smacks him in the head, I pull it back at an angle, and this is so ridiculous. This is just the way I see it. It hits him, I pull it back at an angle and start swinging it this way, and it wraps around the head of one of them. So it wraps around the head of one of them and smacks the other one here. And then as I pull it back, it comes back and smacks the guy whose head it was wrapped around.
Jeez,
does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to do it. So we have some options.
Well, I imagine I know it has to all kind of be part of one maybe, but I have a distracting technique. I also have bolt. And I think throwing. Yes, and I have throwing.
Then here's what I think you should do. Bolt is the thing that sold me, right? I think you should cast Bolt, and you should use the 3 different bolts, and you should just say that you are attacking all 3 of them with this stone thing, but narratively it's like you're throwing the thing out and it's wrapping around and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. Would my smarts come into play here at all in terms of...
This is going to be your knowledge classics that you're going to roll to cast Bolt.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a D10, so...
That's right. And all you need is a 4 to be able to successfully cast it.
These guys are screwed. I've been planning a move like that since I came up with this character. Okay.
Very nice.
All right. 10 and a wild, right?
Yeah.
8.
An 8 total. That's a success with a raise against the first guy. So go ahead and give me your damage against Mr. Grimhoof.
And what is my damage roll?
2d6.
He's the first one because he's the first one I'm attacking.
That's right.
Okay. Something with a raise on that, right?
Do what?
Explode.
To get something for a raise on that, I'm trying to find the power real quick.
Pretty sure he does. Let's see. Bolt. No, there actually isn't anything for this one.
Yeah. Never mind then.
Too bad.
9.
A 9 damage against this guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
And the
so
whole
his toughness is 6. So he's shaken now. He's not actually for bolt. Oh, okay, yeah. Apparently for a raise you get another d6. So go ahead and roll that extra d6 and see if you get anything higher.
No, I got a 4.
Well, no, but you add that to the total. So you had a 9 and you got a 4.
13.
So that's 13. Yeah. Then so your stone thing launches out and hits Grimhoof. You said you were aiming for his face.
I'm aiming right here. Like, you know what? No, I'm aiming.
So
I'm aiming straight for his nose.
Okay. So it just smashes into him, and it's like you see him standing here, and then he just boom. He's like ass over tea kettle right back on top of this broken table.
Slow motion.
And yeah. And like even more cups and saucers and things fly up all around him. And now you can do the bolt against the other guys too.
This whole thing is supposed to be, besides the throw, there's a throw and a pull, because the whole thing is one throw and one pull, with the pull leading the momentum of the bolt.
I like it.
The attack.
So give me the attack for the second target then.
D10 again, right?
Yeah, that's right.
8.
An 8. Okay, that's another success with a raise. So you're going to roll 3d6 against this guy.
Bam! Exploded!
And the toughness to beat is 6.
17. And then I still have to roll my... Wait, I still have to roll my wild. Okay, that was a 6. That was a 2, so that's 8. And then my third, 3. Okay, 17. No.
17. Well, wait, no.
20.
It's all added together.
So no, not my wild, right?
All of it. All 3 of those d6 rolls that you made.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. 23.
23. Wow. So, yeah, that
Does
guy
have a head anymore?
The stone thing comes around, smacks him right in the head, too, and he falls down.
No, hold on. So what happened is the stone, there's 2 guys. The bolt came back. The stone thing wrapped around this guy's neck, but went and hit this guy right in the head first.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, and that dude falls backward. He actually splays out on the bar top.
And then as I pull it back, it comes as it's unwrapping from the guy's head. That's when it smacks him in the face, like right, bam, and then I pull back.
Nice. Okay, so give me that third attack roll then.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, you're pretty much a badass right now.
6.
A 6. Okay, cool. So
just power.
That's a success, but not with the raise. So go ahead and give me your damage. This is just 2d6 this time, but still you're trying to beat a 6
together, right?
That's right.
5.
5. Okay, so this one, the final stone comes around to this other guy, but he's seen all the carnage that's happened already, and he ducks underneath it and manages to avoid the blow. So well done there. I'll give you a Benny for that. Why not?
Damn. Yeah.
And I think both of you have 2 bennies right now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So next round we have Tocklin with a ace. Yeah, Tocklin with an ace. We have another joker for oh, I should have shuffled. We're gonna reshuffle really quick. Sorry, guys.
But I got that joker. I got that joker. Don't do that,
guys.
Oh,
you got to play by the rules when I remember them.
It was already passed.
But I got the 3
oh.
last time.
You did, yeah. No, everybody drew some really good cards. It was suspect. That's why I really am reshuffling, of course. Okay, so we've got this next one, but I'll give you both a Benny for my mistake. Why
Yay.
not? Okay, so Tocklin,
Yo,
you got a 9.
that's not
Still
as good.
respectable.
Yeah, but that's not as good as Nace.
Our dear,
Yeah, that's
our
not
dear
as good as
little
a Joker.
Pheasant Quill got a 6. Sorry, and the bad guys got a 10. So it's going to be the bad guys first. We have this one guy right next to you, Tocklin, and he doesn't really know what to make of this. There's a lot going on. And so
I smirk at him.
he's going to, he realizes that there's really not much of a chance for him all alone at this point because none of them have been able to hit you. So what he's going to do instead is just tackle you and try and wrestle you to the ground. And this is going to be an opposed fighting roll. So make a fighting roll and let me know what you got. Oh, wait, sorry. You make strength or agility, whichever. Sorry, you make a fighting roll. I got a 7.
Wait, so is my fighting? If I don't, do I have fighting, or is that just?
It would be one of your skills. If you don't have it, then
Oh, I do. Oh,
sucks to
sorry.
be you.
I don't know.
You
I
do.
don't know why I completely missed that. Okay, I have a D10 on
Yeah.
fighting, so give me 1 second.
Yeah. Nice and respectable die. The D10.
8.
An 8, and I got a 7. I'm going to spend my last penny and try and actually succeed on this. So let's try this again. I got a 2. No, so he dives after you and he tries to get you, but you are...
I'm talking fucking cool feather.
Yeah, that's right. You live in the mountains. You walked up every mountain in the Elder Kingdom, probably. So you are unfazed. Your thighs are invincible.
Can I wait
So
at this point? Can I just dodge it, or can I do something to like make him fail?
Not yet.
Okay.
Well, I guess yeah. You can describe your actions being the result of his failure if you want. That's fine.
Yeah, because what I would just do is, again, I still have some of those tiny little pellets that I threw at Drip Fang earlier. Just kind of
Yeah.
gonna flick one towards the ground where he's right about to step. So
So he comes at you and he's like, "Whoa!" He slowly like grabs onto the bar to keep from falling over.
hold on,
He's just
hold on, man.
And it's not just grabbing the
Supremely-
bar; it's his antlers grabbing the bar.
Yeah, that's right. And so he's like sink into the bar top and the wood splinters. But still,
Exactly.
it's not too impressive because he did trip on a rock. And speaking of Tocklin, it's your turn next. Oh wait, no, we have the other bad guys. So there's just the one left there.
I've got
But
2.
there are. Sorry, what was that?
I have 2 against me. One of them is shaken still.
That's right. So let's see if he can recover from shaken. And ooh, that's an ace. So yes, he definitely did. And let's see. One of them is going to grab a jar of wine that's sitting on a nearby table and smash it on the ground at your feet to try and slip you up with this slick surface. So that's going to be an agility trick on his part.
Opposed to my agility. Correct.
Yeah, it's opposed to your agility. So go ahead, and you're trying to beat that ace. Oh, that aced again. So you're trying to beat a 15.
I failed.
Nice. By how much?
Oh crap! I don't want to fail that much. No, I failed that much. Okay, I got a 4. So.
A 4. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, it totally works, and you slip, slop, and slide for a little while, and so you are at a -2 parry, and you're also shaken. Now, this is the moment the other
against that guy.
do what? Against that guy,
-2
you're
parry
right.
against
You're
that
right.
guy.
Actually, I think you're at -2 parry in general because it's until your next action.
Against him though.
Fair, that's fine. I think you're right. Anyway, this other guy is going to try and make an attack against you as well. No, I don't think you are, man, because I know a common tactic is to try and do a trick so somebody else can hit them. Let's see.
Well, if that's the case, I'm probably gonna reroll then.
Let's see. character is successful, his opponent is distracted and suffers -2 to his parry until his next action. Yeah, so you would suffer it against the other guy too.
Okay,
But that means your parry is a 7 instead of a 9. I mean, if you want to give me a chance to hit you, I would take it. You don't have to.
I really don't want you to. So hold on, I'm gonna reroll that.
Go ahead. Still got to beat a 15.
I got a 4 again. Do I get my plus 1 because it's against the celestial and it's an opposed roll?
Yeah.
No, I got a 5. Nice.
Perfect. And how many bennies do you have now? 2?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So this other guy is going to try and successfully use the Stag's Crown Palm Nerve Strike against you. And this is an attack. And if it hits, then you have to make a vigor check. So let's see here. Your parry is 7 right now. And I got a 5. Oh, and I'm out of bennies. Oh, what a bummer. Okay, so he strikes again, but he doesn't manage to hit you. And that's his turn. So now it's our avenging child, Pheasant's Quill.
Okay, using his Benny, so I'm no longer shaken. I'm
Fair. Okay.
going to roll under the legs.
Hold on, aren't I next?
You already went.
No,
this
you
round.
already had your turn.
No, the bad guy attacked me, and then
Oh
the
yeah.
other bad
Okay,
guy.
you're right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry about that. So it is you next.
Sorry, Charlie. It's just been forever since I got to go.
I keep pulling off all these like crazy moves that take forever to describe.
Well, and that's one of the bummers about Savage Worlds initiative too, is that if you go first in the first round and then last in the second round, then like you might as well have an extra round in between you. But anyway, so go ahead and do your action, Tocklin.
There's just one guy in front of me, and he's sort of like scrambling to pull himself up after falling down on the bar, right?
Yeah, you embarrassed him real good.
Okay. So what Tocklin's gonna do? He's standing over him, real gruff. He sort of snorts and just, and looks down at the guy, pulls his stone dagger, which hangs from his neck, down, takes his quill, and just draws the blade longer.
Nice.
Just foreboding. And then he pulls it. He leans down next to the guy, starts to pull the dagger up, and then just smacks him in the head with the hilt.
So this is just like a regular fighting check then? Or do you want to make it an intimidate check too?
Oh, this is totally an intimidate check leading into just like a fuck you.
Nice. So then intimidate is going to be resisted by his spirit, which is a D8. So go ahead and roll your intimidate skill for me. And if you don't have it, then it's a D4, but I'll give you a +2 because this is a nice thematic idea.
So you're doing 2 actions though, Charlie?
Oh, you're right. So it is going to be at a -2.
Is growing the blade longer going to be one of the actions then?
One of the actions would be intimidating him, and the other one would be striking him. However you want to describe those 2 actions.
Can I mean, growing the blade longer was really just, I'm not really trying to intimidate. It was more just like, I guess I was trying to intimidate. Can I just pull the dagger and then go do it?
Totally, yeah. I mean, if you don't want to, so you're just going to make an attack check then.
Yeah, it was more just for show that I was like making the dagger. I was going to freak him out, but I guess that's intimidate, so.
Yeah, well, and you can just say, you tried it, but you're not trying hard enough that you actually want to roll. It can just be part of the narrative. So then it would be, you're making an attack check then, and it would be, you're trying to beat a 6.
Okay. Attack. And I'm sorry, I'm rolling for...
You are rolling a fighting check against him.
Okay. What is smite, by the way? I realized I have smite, and I don't remember what it's for.
Smite is a power that you can cast to increase the damage that you would deal on a weapon.
Right. Okay. One sec. Fighting. I'm going to use a Benny.
Okay. You know what? I was going to say, if you want to do... So you have a D10 in Knowledge Classics and in fighting. So if you were to do a multi-action, you could cast Smite on the dagger, and that's you drawing it out to a longer length so it is more damaging, and then your attack would be whatever, and both of those are high enough die dice that you would
Oh
have
yeah.
a better chance of succeeding.
And let's do that because I want to do it. Like the whole idea of growing
Sure.
the dagger was just to be like, I'm gonna fucking chop your neck off, and then just like smack him with the hilt, knock him out.
Sounds good to me.
So I'm rolling first a knowledge. Classics.
Yeah, you'll knowledge classics. Yeah, to cast the spell.
Okay. 8.
An 8. Okay, and that's with the -2 included.
No, that would be a 6.
Okay, then you get a +2 to your damage on this next attack, and actually every attack for the next 3 rounds. But I doubt this guy is going to remain standing. So,
no, I think I'm done with him.
So then that was a success. Go ahead and roll me your damage or your fighting check now.
Okay.
And like I said, you're trying to beat a parry of 6.
Okay, I'm going to spend that bunny then.
Okay.
There we go. Explosion. 17 without. I lose 2 on that, right?
Yeah, so it's a 15, but you still succeed with a raise. So that would be your dagger is strength plus D4 plus an additional D6 because of the bonus damage, and then you add all 3 of those dice together.
So let me reanimate this real quick.
Okay.
Toclin's standing over him. The guy's looking up at him just like, huh. And Toclin snorts, spits, pulls out his dagger, pulls out his quill, licks the tip of the quill, and just...
And the dagger just grows.
The dagger just grows, and he leans down, so he's like eye level with this guy, and just smiles at him just real quick, like, heh. And then, bam!
Nice. Yeah, I love it. So go ahead. You got the fighting check. Go ahead and roll damage now. And you're trying to beat a toughness of 6.
Damage is...
You're going to do strength, whatever that is, plus a D4, plus an additional D6.
Okay. 8 total.
8 total? Okay, so that is a success, but it's not with a raise. So he is shaken, but he is he's not quite out of the fight yet. Now, it is on to our dear friend, Pheasant's Quill.
All right. I will use a spinny, so I'm no longer shaken. And I'm going to roll under the legs of the person I had done a agility trick against. So he's got a -2 parry. And as I'm going under his legs, I guess as I get to the other side, I will attack him. And I'm going to call a shot to his legs.
Okay, sounds good. So it's a -2 to hit. But if you succeed, then you will ignore the armor. Yeah.
Okay. So I moved all my dice. Where's my D10?
You're trying to beat a 6.
I got a...
Actually, I guess it's a 4 because of your agility trick.
Okay. So I rolled a 5. I get a +1 for against a celestial school.
For celestial.
And then it's -2. Mm-hmm. So I got a 4.
Yeah. You succeed though because you also did an agility trick against him earlier. Right. So his parry is reduced by 2.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you do hit. So go ahead and give me some damage then. And you were trying to beat a toughness of 5 this time.
And I got a 9.
A 9, okay. That is a success with a raise. So you bonk this dude. Tell me how you take him out.
Well, I'm attacking his leg, and I got a little nervous when they threw the wine down. And so I actually stab him in the Achilles.
Oh, geez. Okay. So he screams in pain, falls to the ground, and clutches his ankle. And he says, I need a healer, an herbalist. Help, help.
I'm going to continue rolling under a table.
Fair. Well, if you continue moving away, then the other guy gets an attack against you for you disengaging.
Well, he's on the other side of his compadre there. But
well, yeah, but I mean, mechanically speaking, it's still you withdrawing from that melee.
Okay, I mean,
So it
that's
would have
what I'm
happened either
doing.
before you dove under his legs or whatever. But your parry is also 9, and he probably won't hit you. So, yeah, I got a 1. So the other guy was like too scared of his friend seemingly dying on the ground to do anything about this. And now we have perhaps our final round of combat. We have Tocklin with a 6. We have our dear friend Pheasant's Quill with a 7, and we have the bad guys with a king. So let's see. First of all, the dude that Tocklin is fighting is going to try to unshake. And I got a 6 and a 3, so a 9 total. He does unshake. Rubs his head, and then he just decides to run. He's done with this. And so he's leaving melee, and Tocklin, you get a free attack against him if you want.
Hell yeah.
So go ahead and give me a fighting check.
Fighting check. That's my D10, yo. 7.
A 7. Yeah, that hits. So go ahead and give me damage. This will be, I guess you're doing like a dagger strike again.
How far away is he at this point?
He's still in melee. You could hit him with a dagger.
Yeah, I'll smack him on the back of the head with the dagger.
Nice. Okay, so give me a strength plus D4 and damage.
Strength plus D4. And then I roll wild too, right?
You do. Oh, no, not for damage. Sorry.
Okay, 8.
8 total. 8 does hit him, so he is shaken. Again. But he does manage to get away. And then the other guy has already been disengaged with Pheasant's Quill. And so he is looking down at the dude who's injured, and he looks over at his friend running, like fleeing the battlefield. And then he looks back at Pheasant's Quill. And you can tell the last thing he wants to do is to yield to a 12-year-old girl. But he's like, oh, he looks down at his friend again, and he goes,
I stick my tongue out at him. Come on, come at me.
Oh, he can't. He's going to say, I yield. I yield. My friend needs help.
There's a badger behind him, though. He's scared. He's got to come forward.
So the badger actually chases them off. The two guys make a stretcher for their friend who's been struck on his Achilles tendon, and they like carry him out as the badger chatters behind them, nipping at their heels. And let's see this. Yeah, so Grimhoof is splayed out on the ground, unconscious. Everybody else around starts cheering. And a couple people come over and they lift the little girl up onto their shoulders. And they're like, those guys were jerks. We're so glad you fixed it. Ran them out of town. And they carry you over to the bar. And then they realize, oh, she can't drink. She's 12. And but then they also like clap hands around the shoulders of Tocklin. How do you guys respond?
I try to grab a mug of ale, but my hands can't wrap around the mug. But when I get down, I'm going to sit down on the table next to where Grimhoof has landed and start munching on some food and wait till he kind of groggily wakes up and give him a wink and then smash some food into his face.
You're winking at Grimhoof?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh!" He gets the food off of his face.
Can I coincide with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I figure
I was waking him up so that you could say something.
Yeah, we can do this together. So I figure I see Pheasant's Quill go over and wait for him to wake up. So I'm going to walk over. I don't care about all these people clapping me on the shoulder. I walk right over to him. That's the first thing I do. He's on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to just press very lightly with my foot on his chest until he starts to sort of come to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say to him, has the whelp learned his lesson? And then give him to Quill's Pheasant to do with whatever he wants.
Then a pie to his face.
I was going to
Yes.
say, yeah, he opens his mouth to respond to you, and then Pheasant Squill shoves a pie in his face. And the
And then
whole
I'll
crowd
smile.
laughs, and he
And then I'll
leaves
smile at
disgraced.
Quill.
He leaves disgraced, but he's about to leave, and then all of a sudden this badger jumps out from behind this stack of pots, and they crash to the ground with this loud bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. And he's like, "Oh!" Ah! And he runs away screaming as the badger chases him off too. And yeah, so as this is going on, the people congratulate you, and then there's a guy who comes up to you. It's actually a woman. She comes up to you and she says, "You two make a good team. Just the two of you took on 6 other errants, and you won the day. I'm impressed."
To be expected at the Red Bear School.
Of course it is, little girl. Of course it is. You're so cute.
And I kind of glare at her when she tussles my hair.
She says, I have a proposition for you. I represent a noble who lives in Span, and he has need to deliver a caravan of goods from High Hall to his own city. Would you be interested in guarding this caravan? We pay well.
My ears perk up at that.
What about you, Tucklin?
I don't know. Guarding a caravan doesn't exactly fit towards my current journey.
Well, the thing is, you're trying to find out what happened to the Elder King, or try to track down the Elder King, right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to think, is Span the place where I need to go? Are we going to Span, or are we going from Span?
You're going to Span. The thing is, I imagine you've been in High Hall long enough to know that the answer is not here.
Right,
The Elder
okay.
King is not here.
I thought, okay, no. If we're going to Span, yeah, I'll go.
Right. Okay.
So I'd whisper to myself. Well, before I say anything to her, I whisper to myself quietly. His light still burns. His lamp still burns, or his light still burns. And wait, hold on. What does it say on my overlay? His light still burns. And then, I'll just say to her, yes, I will help you.
Very nice. She says, "Oh, well, this is delightful. We are planning to set out bright and early tomorrow morning, so just join us at the warehouse by the western gate. Up and head out. All right." Very well.
I don't say anything in an answer. I just nod and go.
She turns around and I'm not there anymore. I'm trying to catch the badger.
Fair enough. All right. And at that, the clock advances forward a couple of days when your adventure begins. And we find ourselves at the end of the session. So thank you much for playing, guys. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. Like I said at the beginning, we are a fully funded Kickstarter at this point. We met our goal of $5,000, and we are working our way towards stretch goals. The Kickstarter campaign doesn't actually end until next Tuesday, May 30th. So there's still time for you to get in and back or adjust your pledges if you want. We just recently we opened up some of the pledge levels. So for example, you can pay $50, and in addition to getting a physical copy of the book and a 12 by 18 paper map of the Blackwood, you will also get to add an NPC to the setting. And that'll be part of a roll table where you can generate an allied extra. There's also one more top tier available. That backer level is $250, and you get a physical copy of the book, you get a paper map, you get to add an NPC to the setting, you get to add a location to the setting, which I will roll to determine whether it is an actual settlement or if it's a ruin that you have to recover before you can actually make anything happen. And I will also run a small string of adventures for you, up to 3 different sessions, online or in person if you happen to live in Chicago. Either works for me. And so get out there, check out the Kickstarter. Like I said, we're trying to smash through some stretch goals. Most of our stretch goals are about making the art of the book more prevalent and in color. But the first stretch goal will unlock a free character sheet from Carl Kiesler. And the second stretch goal, $7,000, which is the one I'm probably most excited about, will let us commission a separate standalone book of 7 one-shots and actual folk tales that are set in the world of the Blackwood. And you can get that for free if you back at any level. Open, that would be great. I would love to pay these guest writers fair wage for their work. And I hope you guys will help us make that happen. So until next time, Derek, thank you for playing. Charlie, thank you for playing. Audience, thank you for watching. And now, go forth, errants, to walk the way's margin.